Alright, hey guys, so in my previous video I asked if you wanted me to make a list of good indie games for the Steam Autumn Sale, and I quickly realized that there are a ton of fantastic indie games. One of the big reasons why I got into PC gaming to begin with is because of the indie game scene. Like when I first started playing PC games, the indie games just took off, and there's so many good ones. And it's one of the big differences between consoles and PC. I think console gamers, they pick a couple good AAA games per year. On PC, there is thousands of indie games, and during these sales, you can find them for such a low price. So if you don't want to listen to me ramble for a super long time, then I encourage you to just look at the list in the description below, go through them and see if there's any that you find appealing. So there's no particular order here. There's just going to be a lot of games, and some of them are classics and just favorites of mine, and some of them are just popular ones. But first of all, Terraria, I had to include this one of the highest rated games on Steam. It's $5. Definitely play this with a friend. There is a lot of content. It's super enjoyable. A lot of people compare it to Minecraft. It's a little bit more than that. It's kind of like an action adventure where you go from boss fight to boss fight. It's very challenging, but lots of content. So next game, Bastion. You can pick Bastion up for $2.24. This one has a great art style. It's like a top-down action game. And again, by the same creators, Transistor is also on sale, $3. So a lot of these indie games are really, really cheap and really worth playing. So One Finger Death Punch, super action-packed game. You only use 2 buttons throughout the entire game to play it, but it's very challenging. It's a stick figure action game, loads of content. You can play this game for many, many hours. It's $2. The first one is $1. And then Battle Block Theater. This is another really good game to play with a friend, $3. And then we have Brothers: A Tale of Two Sins. Most people overlook this game, and I don't know why. It's only like 2 hours in length, but it's an absolutely beautiful, like atmospheric adventure, like story-driven puzzle game. Absolutely love this game. One of the most charming indie games on Steam, in my opinion, and you can pick this one up for just $3. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to try to get through these. I wish I could talk a lot more about each individual one. A Story About My Uncle, really, really good, like high-flying parkour game. I think it's $4.50. And then Super Flight, this one's really cheap. It's only 75 cents. Very, very good indie game. Highly recommend picking this one up. And then next one, Cluster Truck, one of my favorite, most fun, entertaining indie games of all time. This one is $5. A little bit pricey, I think, but still super fun compared to others. Limbo is a classic. Thought I'd just throw this one in there. It's $3. And then we have Super Meat Boy. Again, another classic, but still one of the like best hardcore platformers out there. $1.50. So cheap. Rogue Legacy. This is one of the first roguelike games that I ever played, and it is pretty amazing. It's like a side-scrolling, what would you call it, like platformer, but I really enjoyed it, like action platformer. So $3.75. Definitely recommend it if you like roguelike games. And then we have Peggle Deluxe. Again, another classic. I used to play this on the Xbox. All my friends used to play this for some reason in high school, but $2 for Peggle. Very good arcade game. Crazy Taxi. I just like throwing I just like throwing all my classic favorites in here. So $1.20. I used to play this all the time on arcades. And then Slender: The Arrival. This is a horror game. And at first I thought this was just a joke. This was back when Slender Man was a thing, back in the PewDiePie days. But this is $2. It's a very good horror game, though, I have to say. You think it's stupid because it's Slender Man, but trust me, it's actually pretty terrifying, and there's a lot of content as well. And the next game is Audio Surf 2. I remember playing the first one a lot when I was younger, but this is a game that syncs with your music. You can play your own music files, and it's actually a pretty enjoyable game. So $3.75. And then we have Dust and Elysian Tale. Again, this is just another really classic indie game. It's an action platformer. This one you can pick up for $3.75. A lot of them are $3.75. Child of Light, again, another classic indie game, $4.50. And then Cat Quest. This one is super, super charming. It's a little RPG, action RPG. Absolutely love this one. If you want just something super cute and makes you smile, this one is just $2. And then Cat Quest 2 is also on sale, but it's a little bit more expensive. And then we have Rock of Ages 2 and Rock of Ages 1 as well. This one is just super silly. Like I said, indie games are just super unique that you don't really find in AAA games. So if you just want something like completely outlandish and a unique experience, definitely recommend Rock of Ages. So this one's, I'm just going to say $4, $3.75. And then we have The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. This is an action RPG. I personally love action RPGs. Think of Diablo, Path of Exile. This is just $1.50. It's not the best in terms of gameplay, I have to say, but there's a lot of content for just $1. In comparison, I would suggest Grim Dawn. That one's a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $6 or $7 currently on sale. I would definitely recommend that one over Van Helsing, but Van Helsing's pretty good as well. Also, Path of Exile is free. Might as well play that. And then Overlord 2. This is another fun game that I played when I was younger. So if you guys have some nostalgia, $2.50 for Overlord 2. Then Sneaky Bus. This is a game that came out more recently, last year. Very, very silly game. Basically, you're driving around and there's like another bus that attaches to you as you go along, and it keeps getting longer and longer and longer, and you basically try to survive as long as possible without running into yourself. It's pretty insane. But this is $5. Mountain Blade with Fire and Sword. This is another classic. It has a huge cult following, the Mountain Blade series, just because the gameplay is very unique. It's sort of similar to like the Total War series where you fight battles, but it's more of an RPG. And the combat is so much more engaging to any other game of this style. Mountain Blade 2 came out recently, but it's still super expensive. I really want it, but the originals are definitely worth playing if you want a more unique experience. So that's just $2.50. Command & Conquer 3, this isn't really an indie game, but I wanted to throw in a real-time strategy game, and this is one of my all-time favorites, behind maybe like StarCraft, but you can pick this up for $3.75. And then Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion. I know it's kind of weird to throw this in, but this is honestly like a super charming and really just an amazing platformer. I really loved it. I played through the entire game. It's not very long, but it's very well crafted, and the levels are interesting enough to keep you entertained. So that one's $3.75 as well. I feel like every indie game is $3.75. Bejeweled 3, classic puzzle game, $2.50. And then Yes, The Oath in Felagana. This is one of my favorite JRPGs. It's more of an action game, more fast-paced. It's not turn-based. It's actually like real-time. But the Yes, or I'm probably mispronouncing it. Yes, I don't know. I know I'm mispronouncing it, but trust me, this game is really good. It's $4.50. Definitely worthwhile if you're into like Japanese style RPGs. And then going into some more like hentai style games, Honey Pop is very cheap, $2.50. And then we have Mirror. This game is extremely cheap. It's only 79 cents, so definitely worthwhile picking these up if you like puzzle games. So these actually are like really good puzzle games, but they have a lot of hentai in it. So if you don't like naked anime babes, I don't recommend these games, but the puzzle elements are actually really good. So then we have the Talos Principle. This is one of the like best puzzle games on Steam. Very cheap currently, $4, 90% off. I don't know why it's still selling for $40. It's been out for so long. But for $4, it's a steal. Definitely recommend the Talos Principle if you like puzzle games. Then there's Overcooked. This is a fun multiplayer game. You can also play it with remote play, so you can play this online. Overcooked 2 is more expensive, but the first Overcooked is fun. It's a very stressful game, but I recommend playing it with 3 to 4 people. But it's $4. And then we have Wizard of Legend. This is a action roguelike that came out 2 years ago, but really good. It's been in a few bundles, so it's about $5. Then we have Geometry Dash. This is just $1. Yeah, just $1. I think most people have probably heard of Geometry Dash. It's one of those games that you would play sort of in school when you just wanted to ignore the teacher, basically. But very, very fun game, very challenging. It's something you can replay over and over again. Oobs Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator. So this one is pretty crazy. So in terms of gameplay, there's really not a whole lot going on, and it's a game that you will sort of get tired of very quickly, but just seeing it on the screen is amazing. This is basically a simulator where you can essentially create these battles with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of units on the screen at the same time in the Unreal Engine, I believe. So the graphics look amazing, and you can create some of the most ridiculous and enjoyable scenes to watch. So in terms of, like, it's not really a game, it's more just being able to watch these epic battles unfold. So I'm talking too much. It's $350. Definitely worth it at that price. I remember paying I think I paid like 10 or 15 bucks for it, but it was worthwhile. Then there was Orcs Must Die 2. This is another, just some of these are like very old games, but they're just games I remember playing when I was younger and first getting into PC gaming. So Orcs Must Die 2 is a multiplayer like tower defense style game that you play with a friend. $375. And then Dungeon Defenders, basically the same thing as Orcs Must Die, although just like a different style. Dungeon Defenders is definitely more popular. I think there's a sequel to it as well, but like tower defense style with some like action combat as well. So that is $375 as well. And then let's keep going. Hotline Miami, I'm sure everyone has heard of this one. This one's $250. Then we have Spelunky, another game that was very, very popular when it came out. There's Spelunky 2 now as well. So this one's $3. And then we have Faster Than Light, another game I think everyone has heard of. Great roguelike, one of the first ones. So that's $250. And then we have Islanders. Man, it came out early 2019. Jeez, time flies. I feel like this game came out yesterday. This is a really good game. I followed the developer makes like indie blogs on YouTube, and he's actually a really, really good guy. But this game's actually pretty addictive. Again, it's more of like a strategy sort of game. It's a city builder, and you try to make these little towns, and it's very unique and very enjoyable. So it's kind of relaxing as well. So that's $250. And then we have Unravel. Unravel and Unravel 2 are made by EA, or published by EA. Electronic Arts, but the graphics are amazing. These are puzzle games. The first one's single player, but the second one is multiplayer, and they're both $5 each. These are one of those games that just came out on Steam when Origin or EA decided to move all their games to the Steam platform. So I definitely recommend playing Unravel, especially if you have a friend to play with. Beautiful game, really, really good puzzles. Anyways, $5 for Unravel 2. Speedrunners, this used to be super popular on YouTube. PewDiePie days, or every YouTuber was playing Speedrunners for whatever unknown reason. But it's still a fun game to play with a friend or two, and you can pick it up for $375. And then there's War of the Overworld. This one, a lot of people love. So basically real-time strategy games, sort of underground, and you can get it for $3. I'm pretty sure this one is like an old classic that everyone just loved. Personally, I prefer Dungeons 2. This one is more like story-driven, has a really good story. The DLC is excellent. I played through pretty much everything, and I just loved Dungeons 2. So if you're looking for like a single-player RTS that's really, really enjoyable, definitely pick up Dungeons 2. That's $4. And these are commonly bundled as well. Then there's Layers of Fear. This is a really good horror game where you're like going through sort of like I guess you'd call it like haunted house, but you're just going room to room, and there's so many weird and twisted things that happen. Super scary, very atmospheric, and this one's only $4. So if you want a horror game, that's excellent. Goat Simulator, I'm sure everyone's heard of Goat Simulator. Absolutely ridiculous, super enjoyable, super funny game. And this one is very cheap, $3. And I think it has multiplayer as well. I could be mistaken, but I feel like there was multiplayer at some point. But I definitely recommend everyone pick up Goat Simulator. I think anyone would enjoy it, at least for an hour or so. And then there's Move or Die. This is another multiplayer game. Really fun to play online with friends. It's sort of just a party game, and there's all sorts of different events. There's a lot of like multiplayer party games that are really good. $375. And then Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. I don't know if you would call this an indie game, but it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's a kart racing game, very similar to like Mario Kart, but in terms of like PC, I would say Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed is probably the best kart racing game, and the graphics are actually beautiful, and there's lots of content, tons of maps. Playing it single player or multiplayer, very enjoyable. So this one is $5. Then there's Crypt of the Necrodancer. So I haven't played much of this, but I just put it in here because I've always seen that the review scores are overwhelmingly positive. So might as well get it, and it's only $3. So super cheap price for a game that's probably amazing. I don't really know though. And then Trials Rising. This is made by or published by Ubisoft. I'm sure most people have seen this game before, but it's one of those. There used to be, like in the past, there used to be Flash games where you would control a little physics bike through various stages. This is just a much more advanced version of that, and I really enjoy games like this. So $4 for Trials Rising. And man, I told you, I love indie games, so I put way too much. I felt like I can't leave any of these out. Obviously, there's thousands upon thousands more, and there's probably like 100 that I missed out on this list, but oh well. This is a simulator, game dev Tycoon. It's very addictive. It's very simple, but it's very addictive. And I remember getting this game when it first released, and I thought it was very enjoyable. You kind of like make your own little game studio, and you start out like in your garage, and then you slowly work your way up to hire people and work on projects, and you kind of work your way up through the years. You start out in like the very old days with the very basic systems and consoles, and then you work your way up to a big management team. But overwhelmingly positive, and it is only $4.50. So next we have Dungeon of the Endless. This is a tower defense style roguelike game. Lots of these style games where you go from like room to room, but this one's very popular as well. $3. And then Turmoil. This is one of my favorite games. Most people overlook this game, but if you like sort of strategy management style games, Turmoil is so freaking addictive. It's one of the most addictive indie games I've played, and most people probably won't get it because on the outside the graphics probably look terrible, but trust me, it's very addictive if you like management games. So that's $5. And then we have Polybridge. This one is very popular as well. It's one of those games where you build a physics bridge and try to get cars over without it collapsing. This is just $1.50. So cheap. Definitely recommend anyone buy it for that price. Then To the Moon. This is another classic. It's a RPG Maker style game, or very old like retro style like JRPG graphics. But the only reason I put this in here is because it has a really good story. It's very emotional. It's one of those games that'll probably make you cry if you get through the entire game, and some people really enjoy story-driven games like that. So $2.50 for To the Moon. And I don't know, out of every game on Steam, I feel like To the Moon, like the ending of it was probably the most emotional experience. And then we have Trine 2, and also I think there's Trine 3 and Trine 1. Anyways, these are all great, very, very good platformers, very good graphic style, sort of action platformer, I should say. So you can pick up Trine 2 for $5. I'm pretty sure, unless I left it out, I'm pretty sure Trine 3 is also $5. Let me see. Yeah, $5.50 for Trine 3. So a little bit over, but those are really good games and very well known. And then Mini Metro, this is another of my personal favorites. Again, it's one of those games where it looks like super basic and you're probably not going to buy it because it looks like there's just a couple lines on the screen, but it's a really, really good puzzle game. And I don't know, it's one of those games that's just so relaxing and that you can just play for like hours, and it's just super enjoyable. And it does get really challenging after a while too. So anyways, that's $5. Very unique game. I think it's a little bit too expensive. I would get it for like $2.50, but I just thought I'd throw it in. And Surgeon Simulator, again, another another wacky game, but this used to be super popular, and it's $2.50. And then Sanctum 2, this is another tower defense style game, but it's first person. So very unique style game. If you like tower defense games, definitely recommend it. I love tower defense games. This is $4.49. So moving on to some more tower defense games, I personally love the genre. So there's some really good ones on Steam. Another one is Gymcraft Chasing Shadows. This game has like over 100 hours worth of content, ridiculous amount of content, and it is super enjoyable. And there's all sorts of like, you like combine towers together to make new ones, all sorts of different elements and so forth. Overwhelmingly positive reviews. You can pick it up for $5. Also, even though this is a little bit more expensive than $5, the Kingdom Rush series, there's a couple of them on Steam. Really good tower defense games. Moving on from that, we have Towerfall Ascension. This is a 2D like action fighting game that is very addictive, very enjoyable. This one is just $3.75. A lot of them are $3.75. Downwell, this one is only like $2. $1 for Downwell. This was the top selling game on Steam for quite some time. Overwhelmingly positive reviews. Very addictive. I played it for quite some time. You're basically just falling down while like killing creatures, and it's very hard to explain. But I recommend picking it up for $1. It's really fun, honestly, and it's one of those games that are very replayable. And then Outlast, I don't know if you would consider this a like indie game, but I would, just because it's from a smaller studio. This is a game that came out, and man, it is one of the like most gruesome horror games on Steam. There's Outlast 2 now, but I wasn't able to play through it just because it is just scary as hell and so freaking dark and just so much gore. But anyways, Outlast is $3, very, very cheap. Guilty Gear, I just decided to throw in a fighting game because I know some people love fighting games, but 2D arcade style fighting games are pretty cheap. There's a lot of them on Steam, but this one is one of the best, and you can pick it up for $3, so super low price, all of them. I mean, I know you can get AAA games for like $5 these days, but I just love seeing indie games for less than $5. Gothit, very similar to Golf with Your Friends. It's a putt-putt or mini golf multiplayer game that you can play online with your friends. Gothit actually has a lot of content, and I think it's really charming. I just wish I had more friends who are willing to buy it. I need to just tell my friends, just please buy it so we can play together. $4.50. Maybe I'll force my friend to buy it. And then Stick Fight, the game. This is another multiplayer sort of party action game. You kind of think of it like Super Smash Brothers, although it's just absolutely ridiculous, absolutely insane, loads of levels, and it's super fun to play for like an hour or two. It gets repetitive after a while, but if you have friends to play with, Stick Fight the game is great, and it's $2.75. And then we have American Truck Simulator and also Euro Truck Simulator. These are one of the most played simulators on Steam. Most people who haven't played a simulator before, I would recommend trying it out because it's one of those games that you get addicted to, and if you get hooked, you're basically screwed because you're going to be playing this for dozens of hours. But this is $5, so pretty good price for American Truck Simulator. And then Mud Runner, again, more simulators. This one's kind of cool because there's like mud physics. It's a little bit slower pace, but you're just carrying cargo from one place to another. And sometimes you get stuck and you have to pull yourself out of the mud, but very unique in terms of the physics. So that's $5. I think I put Spin Tires in as well. I think this was the first one that came out on Steam. So this one's a little bit older, but very cheap, $2 or $3. Yeah, $2. And then The Escapist 2. This is a great one. Very positive, very popular little game. So this one is $5, I think. Yep, $5. And then Castle Crashers. This is a classic. Playing this on the Xbox 360, of course. This is a multiplayer action game. Really charming graphics. Pretty fun. Personally, I wasn't as big a fan as other people were, but you can pick it up for $3. You can pick up the 4-pack for $10. So make sure you pick up a copy for a friend because it's a really good game. And then we have Plants vs. Zombies, one of my favorite indie games of all time. This is one of those games where like I've already played through the entire game, but sometimes I want to just go back and play through the whole game again just because it's so relaxing and it's so charming at the same time. And as you can see, these reviews speak for themselves. 40,000 plus positive reviews, and you can pick it up for just $2. So this is a game that I recommend everyone pick up on Steam, of course. And then we have Bloons Tower Defense 6. This is another game that is still super popular to this day. I'm sure everyone's played a Bloons game at some point or another. Loads of content. You can play it for so many hours, and it's just like Plants vs. Zombies, like 40,000 positive reviews, and it's just $1. $1 freaking dollar. Okay, so I think that is all I'm going to cover for today, although I could easily keep going. I felt like as I was looking through the Steam store, I was just thinking of all the great indie games I played in the past, and I own a ton of games on Steam, so I played a lot of games. But these are some of the best, and hopefully you found something that looked appealing. Definitely recommend those games that are like $1 or $2, maybe $3. Pick up a couple of those, because you could spend like $10, get like, I don't know, 3 to 5 games, and you'll have some enjoyable experiences. And definitely different experiences from AAA games. You'll have some little fun arcade experiences. So that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. I feel like at some point I should make like a top 100 indie games ever on Steam. It just takes way too long to make, but that's it for this video. Let me know if you guys want to see more, or maybe I'll just cover some of like the top deals on Steam or something. I don't know. I'm just not the type of person that pays full price for games, and I rarely pay more than like $20 for a game. So I like to wait until there's some really good deals. And unfortunately, like most of like the top sellers during the sale are pretty expensive. Like I would love to have Death Stranding, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, like Red Dead Redemption 2. There's some games that I really want, but I just wait and wait and wait until there's a really, really good sale, and then I jump on it. But I can make another video on like the top selling games on Steam or something like that. But that's it. Stop rambling. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.